For all of our recorded history, we have done one thing, more than any other. We have stared into the void, and we have listened. We call it the Great Silence. The Fermi Paradox. The universe is ancient, billions of years old, filled with trillions of stars. Statistically, it should be teeming with intelligence. It should be a cacophony of signals, a cosmic marketplace of cultures, broadcasting their existence. And yet, we hear nothing, only the cold, static hiss of the background radiation, the whisper of dead stars. We are, by all accounts, completely and terrifyingly alone. But what if the great silence is an illusion? What if the problem isn't that the universe is empty, but that we are cosmically deaf? What if the universe is speaking? What if our own planet is trying to warn us? What if they are broadcasting, not in a language of words, but in a language of impossibilities? Of energy bursts we cannot explain. Of deep-sea roars that defy biology. Of coded messages, hiding in plain sight, that challenge the very fabric of our reality. These are not noise. They are not glitches in the data. They are transmissions. Today, we are not just listening to the static. We are decoding the impossible. We are opening the zero-point files on 5 transmissions that science simply cannot explain. Our first signal is perhaps the most famous. It is not just a mystery. It is a single word, scribbled in red ink, that has haunted astronomy for nearly 50 years. It is the definitive proof that something, or someone, said, "Hello, the year is 1977. The Cold War is at its peak, but another search is underway." At Ohio State University, a massive radio telescope nicknamed the Big Ear scans the cosmos. It isn't a sleek, modern dish. It is a sprawling, static field of metal, using the Earth's own rotation to sweep the sky. Its mission is simple. Listen. Listen. For the one thing that would prove we are not alone. For years, it heard nothing. The data was a monotonous stream of background noise, the ones and twos of an empty cosmos, until August 15th. On that night, a young astronomer named Dr. Jerry Amon was reviewing the printouts from the night before. His job was to scan columns of alphanumeric code, searching for anything that stood out. And then, he saw it. A sequence of characters, a signal. It was not a 1 or a 2. It was a U. It was a J. It was an E. The signal had flared up, become 30 times louder than the background noise of deep space, and then faded, precisely as the telescope's gaze swept past it. The entire transmission lasted for 72 seconds. Dr. Amon grabbed a red pen, circled the sequence, and in the margin, he wrote the one word that would immortalize the event. Wow. Why wow? Because this was not just a signal. It was the perfect signal. To understand why, you must understand the interstellar water cooler. Physicists theorize that any advanced civilization trying to communicate across the stars would choose a single, obvious, universal frequency. A channel that everyone in the galaxy would know to tune into. That frequency is 1,420 megahertz. The frequency of neutral hydrogen. Hydrogen is the most abundant element in the entire universe. It is the sound of the cosmos itself. It is the natural, quiet, protected band where all intelligent life would, logically, choose to broadcast. The wow signal was not near 1,420 megahertz. It was, for all intents and purposes, exactly on it. It was also narrowband. It was a clean, pure, artificial-looking spike. Natural phenomena, pulsars, quasars, interstellar clouds are broadband. They are messy, like a chorus of static. This was a single, pure note, a focused, technological beacon. It was, in every measurable way, the hello we had been waiting for. The discovery shocked the world. This was it, the moment of contact. But this discovery came with a soul-crushing paradox. We have been staring at that exact patch of sky in the constellation Sagittarius ever since. For over 40 years, with telescopes 1,000 times more powerful than the Big Ear, we have listened. And the signal has never repeated. The silence is absolute. This is the 0 point of the mystery. How do you have a perfect, intelligent, 72-second message that only appears once? Science has tried, desperately, to explain it away. The most popular official theory was that the Big Ear had detected the hydrogen cloud of a passing, undiscovered comet. This theory was convenient, and it was wrong. In 2017, researchers proved that the comets proposed as the source were in the wrong part of the sky at the time. Furthermore, a comet's signal would be messy and would have been detected in both of the Big Ear's receivers. The WOW signal was clean and seen by only one. It did not fit the profile. The natural explanations have all failed. So we are left with the lore, the unorthodox and terrifying possibilities. Possibility 1. It was not a hello. It was a goodbye. We happened to overhear the exhaust of an interstellar engine, a transmission from a craft using a hydrogen line signal for navigation, as it slingshotted past our solar system and accelerated back into the void. Possibility 2. It was a lighthouse, a vast, cosmic beacon, rotating on a timescale of centuries. We just happened to be in the right place, at the right time, to see the flash for 72 seconds. A flash that will not align with us again for another 10,000 years. The WOW signal is not a mystery of what we heard. It is a mystery of what we missed. It is the ultimate emotional trigger point. It proves the silence is an illusion. We just happened to be looking away when the universe blinked. A 72-second whisper from the cosmos is a profound mystery. But what if the most terrifying signal ever recorded didn't come from the stars? What if it came from a place we thought we knew? A place of crushing darkness, right here on Earth. What if it was a roar from the abyss? The year is 1997. The Cold War is over. The U.S. Navy's Sound Surveillance System, or SOSUS, is a vast, secret network of underwater microphones, hydrophones. For decades, they were used for one purpose: to hunt Soviet submarines. But with the Cold War over, scientists at NOAA were given access to this billion-dollar toy. For the first time, they were not listening for engines. They were listening to the Earth. On May 19th, they recorded an impossibility. A sound. A low, ultra-low frequency rumble that rose and fell over the course of a minute. It was detected by multiple sensors, spread across 5,000 kilometers of the Pacific Ocean. For a sound to travel that far, to be heard by sensors that distant, its source had to be monumental. They named it simply the Bloop. Scientists raced to find its origin. It was not an earthquake. It was not a submarine. It was not an explosion. And then they found the emotional trigger point. The acoustic profile of the Bloop, the way the frequency rose and fell, did not match any known geological or man-made event. It matched, with chilling precision, the profile of a living creature. But this created a paradox. It sounded alive, but it was louder than any animal we have ever known. The blue whale is the loudest living thing on Earth. Its call can reach 188 decibels. The Bloop was many times louder. Suddenly, humanity was faced with a terrifying reality. Either our understanding of physics was wrong, or there was something living in the deep Pacific, something of a size and power that dwarfed the largest creature on the planet. For years, the mystery was left unsolved. It was the wow signal of the deep, a single, terrifying data point. The official consensus, the safe story, finally landed on an icequake. NOAA now believes the sound was caused by a massive iceberg cracking and breaking apart off the coast of Antarctica. This would, they argue, be powerful enough to be heard across the ocean, and it might, under the right circumstances, mimic a living sound. Case closed. A natural, though spectacular, event. But is it? The icequake theory is plausible, but it is not perfect. The acoustic signature of the Bloop remains unique. It has not been perfectly replicated by other known icequakes. The organic quality of the sound remains an anomaly, and this is where we must look back at our own lore. This is where science and myth collide. In a previous investigation, we explored how our most ancient myths are not fantasies. They are fragmented memories. For 1,000 years, sailors told stories of the Kraken, a monster vast enough to be mistaken for an island. Science laughed. They called it a fabulous creature. Until we found it. We found Architeuthis, the giant squid. We found Mesonicoteuthis, the colossal squid. The sailors had been right all along. The myth was just a field report. So, what is the Bloop? Is it, as science insists, the sound of ice? A convenient, sterile explanation for a sound that makes us deeply uncomfortable? Or is it the fragmented, acoustic memory of something else? The proof that the Kraken of our myths was just the beginning? What if the Bloop is the modern, scientific field report of a creature that is still down there, a true titan of the abyss, a relic from an older world that just happened to roar? While our machines were listening, a monster in our own ocean is a terrestrial fear. But our next transmission takes us billions of light years from home. It is a signal so powerful, it rewrites the laws of physics. A transmission that could only be one of two things: a new, terrifying act of God, or the definitive proof of an intelligence that can harness the power of stars. They are called fast radio bursts, FRBs. In 2007, while analyzing old data, astronomer Duncan Lorimer found something that should not exist: a burst of radio energy. It was incomprehensibly bright, and it had lasted for less than 5 milliseconds, a thousandth of a second. It had come from a galaxy 3 billion light years away. This is the emotional trigger point of the FRB. In that single millisecond, that one tiny flash, the FRB released as much energy as our own sun produces. In 3 entire days, it was an explosion of almost unimaginable power. At first, scientists assumed it was a cataclysm, a one-and-done event. 2 neutron stars colliding, a black hole evaporating, a dying star's final scream. This was the only explanation that made sense. And then, one of them repeated. In 2012, an FRB was detected. And then it flashed again, and again, and again. It was named FRB 121102, and it shattered every theory we had. It cannot be a cataclysm. You cannot have 2 stars collide, over and over. This was not an explosion. It was a transmission. The mystery deepened. As we watched FRB 121102, we found a pattern. It wasn't random. It turns on for about 90 days, broadcasting its signals, and then it goes silent for 67 days. A perfect 157-day cycle. A pattern, a cycle, a season. This is not nature as we know it. This is something else. The official scientific explanation is now a magnetar, a highly magnetized, rapidly spinning neutron star. The theory is that as it spins, starquakes on its surface, or interactions with its own magnetic field, could burst these signals. The cycle, perhaps, is the star's wobble or precession. It is the most elegant natural explanation we have, but this is zero-point lore. And we must ask the unorthodox question: what if the simplest explanation isn't natural at all? Dr. Avi Loeb, the former head of Harvard's astronomy department, has proposed a chilling alternative. He asks, what if the FRB is not a bug, but a feature? What if it's not a weapon, but an engine? Loeb suggests that FRBs are the exhaust of an advanced Type II civilization. He theorizes they are massive, planet-sized energy beams generated by a star to push light sails across the galaxy. What we are seeing is not a dying star. We are seeing an interstellar highway. The repeating cycle? It's not a wobble. It's a schedule. We are, perhaps, seeing a distant civilization's launch window, beaming power to their ships as they leave port. The FRB is either the most exotic, unknown phenomenon in the natural universe, or it is the daily commute of a species that has conquered physics. Either way, it proves our understanding of the cosmos is profoundly incomplete. An engine that harnesses a sun is a terrifying, alien concept. But what if the most unsettling transmission isn't alien at all? What if it's human? What if it's been broadcasting 24 hours a day for 50 years from the frozen heart of Russia? A signal that, if it ever stops, could mean the end of the world. Welcome to station UVB 76, the buzzer. It is a real, active, shortwave radio station, broadcasting at 4,625 kilohertzes. And since at least the 1970s, it has done one thing, and one thing only. It buzzes, a monotonous, dull, electronic buzz. 25 times a minute, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, for decades. It is the soundtrack to an unknown Cold War secret. At first, it was dismissed as a channel marker, a simple signal to keep a frequency open. But the buzzer is not a recording. This is the 0 point of the mystery. It is a live, open microphone. Radio hobbyists and listeners across the world who have monitored the station for years have reported background noise, muffled conversations, a chair moving, a tool being dropped. Someone or something is in the room. And then there are the messages. Periodically, sometimes weeks apart, sometimes days, the buzzing will stop. The line will go silent, and a human voice, speaking Russian, will read a coded message, UVB 76, MDZHB 42, 71, 93, 88. Words, numbers, and names. What is this? What purpose does a massive, analog, 50-year-old transmitter serve in a digital age of satellites and fiber optics? The safe theory is that it's a numbers station, a relic, a way for Russian intelligence to send coded messages to its deep cover agents around the world. A spy in a foreign country can tune in on a simple, untraceable, commercially available radio and receive their orders. It's a plausible and very real explanation, but it is not the only explanation. There is a darker, more terrifying theory, a theory that comes from the very logic of nuclear deterrence. This is the theory of the dead hand. In the 1980s, the Soviet Union was terrified of a decapitation strike, a nuclear first strike that would wipe out Moscow and its entire chain of command before they could order a retaliation. Their solution was rumored to be a semi-automatic system, a fail-safe. The theory goes, UVB 76 is that system's heartbeat. It is a signal monitored by automated nuclear command posts. As long as the buzzer is buzzing, the system knows that Moscow is alive and well. The chain of command is intact. But if the signal stops, if UVB 76 is destroyed in a first strike, the dead hand assumes the worst. It would bypass all human command and automatically trigger the launch of Russia's entire nuclear arsenal. A full-scale, planet-ending retaliation. We do not know if this is true. We hope it is not. But the buzzer continues to broadcast. A relic of a war that never ended. A transmission meant for no one, but whose sudden silence would be the last message humanity ever received. A human signal designed to end the world is a chilling thought. But our final transmission is the most profound of all, because it may not be a transmission so much as a presence. It is not one signal, but a web of anomalies, a mythology of data points woven together over 70 years that all point to one impossible conclusion. We are being watched. It is called the Black Knight. The lore of the Black Knight satellite is not a single, verifiable event. It is a 0 point of converged data, a pattern. The official story of space is simple. In 1957, the Soviets launched Sputnik. Humanity entered the cosmos. But the lore begins earlier. Data point 1, the 1920s. Radio pioneers, including Nikola Tesla himself, report long-delayed echoes, LDEs. They would transmit a signal and receive an echo back, not milliseconds later, but seconds later, an impossibly long delay. As if the signal had traveled to an object far beyond the moon, been processed, and been sent back. At the time, it was a mystery. Data point 2, 1954, 3 years before Sputnik. Major newspapers, including the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, report that the United States Air Force is tracking 2 objects in Earth's orbit. No one knows who built them. No one knows how they got there. The story, attributed to aviation expert Major Donald Kehoe, is that they are dark, unknown satellites. The story vanishes. Data point 3, 1998. The Space Shuttle Endeavour is on mission STS-88, building the International Space Station. The astronauts take a series of stunning photographs of an object floating nearby. It is dark, angular, and looks technological. This is the face of the Black Knight. Now, science has an explanation for every single one of these anomalies. The long-delayed echoes, a complex but natural interaction with the Earth's magnetosphere. The 1954 satellites, a misidentification of meteors, or perhaps a simple hoax that got out of hand. The 1998 photograph? NASA is clear. It is a thermal blanket, lost by an astronaut during an EVA. A piece of space junk. Individually, each anomaly is explained. Case closed. But this is where the lore becomes more powerful than the data. The 0 point hypothesis asks, what if these are not separate, unrelated incidents? What if the Black Knight is the name we gave to a sentinel? A 13,000-year-old alien probe, parked in a polar orbit, silently watching humanity's dawn, watching us discover fire, watching us build pyramids, watching us split the atom. Is the Black Knight a real, physical object? A 13,000-year-old transmitter, whose presence we have been misinterpreting for a century? Or is it something even more profound? Is it a psychological transmission? What if the Black Knight is a myth in the truest sense? A story we created, a pattern we forced, because deep in our collective consciousness, we expect to be watched. What if the most powerful transmission of all is our own human mind, desperately searching the static for a pattern, terrified of the silence, the wow signal, the bloop, the fast radio bursts, the buzzer, the Black Knight, the Black Knight, the bloop, the Black Knight. They are not static. They are not noise. They are the 0 points of our reality. The glitches in the map. They are the moments where the official story of a silent, empty, predictable universe breaks down and something else bleeds through. They are the profound, unsettling questions, broadcast from the cosmos, from our oceans, and from the darkest corners of our own human history. They prove, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that the great silence is an illusion. The universe is broadcasting. Our planet is broadcasting. We are, all of us, simply beginners. The signals are everywhere, and our mission here is to listen to them. If you believe that history is filled with shadows, and that the universe is far more complex and mysterious than we are told, subscribe to 0 Point Lore. We are dedicated to investigating the moments where our reality fractures. We want to know what you think. Of these 5 impossible transmissions, which one haunts you the most? Is it the single, heartbreaking hello from the wow signal, the organic deep-sea terror of the bloop, or the chilling nuclear heartbeat of the buzzer? Let us know your theory in the comments below.